Welcome to the audio-described version of the Joshua Trees episode of the Granite Desk series. Two park rangers in uniform stand at a large, flat rock with granite boulders and desert vegetation behind. One is a woman with straight blonde hair, the other is a man with two long braids. A Chiron bar with a Joshua Tree icon reads Granite News Desk, which then disappears, followed by text that says Ranger Jesse and Ranger Mackenzie.
Hello, and welcome to the Granite Desk at Joshua Tree National Park. I'm Ranger Jesse.
And I'm Ranger Mackenzie. In today's episode, we're going to be learning about Joshua trees. Think about the plants where you live. Do they look the same or different than the ones that you see here?
I bet they look different, unless you also live in a desert. The plants here are unique because they have to find a way to adapt to this hot and dry environment.
A green beavertail cactus with new pink buds, followed by a shot of wildflowers, including yellow poppies and purple lupins.
In the 1930s, a woman named Minerva Hoyt wanted to form a park to help protect these unusual plants because she was worried they might be destroyed by people.
Time-lapse of a white and yellow cactus flower slowly opening, followed by a shot of a field of Joshua trees and a close-up of a bumblebee landing on a clump of yellow flowers.
The park ended up being named after just one, the Joshua tree, but there are over 750 species of plants that grow here.
I see plenty around here, but not 750. I see shrubs, I see cacti. The pointy plant behind me is the Mojave yucca. Don't see any Joshua trees though.
You'd think in a place named Joshua Tree National Park, there'd be Joshua trees everywhere.
I wonder why they don't grow here at the desk. Let's meet Ranger Simone, who would teach us more about Joshua trees and how they survive in the desert.
Time-lapse of the sun setting behind a Joshua tree. A cottontail rabbit looks toward the camera. A time-lapse of Joshua trees with their shadows moving across a granite rock face. A desert tortoise slowly walks along the ground. Purple lupin flowers wave in the breeze. A time-lapse of sunset over the park landscape with the words Granite Desk in large block letters and the episode title, Joshua Trees, printed smaller. A very wide shot of a park ranger in uniform standing next to a massive Joshua tree with more trees behind her. Text on screen reads Ranger Simone.
Hi, I'm Ranger Simone, and there are plenty of Joshua trees here. Where Ranger Mackenzie and Jesse are at the desk, it's lower elevation, so it's a little warmer and drier.
A hand-drawn sketch showing the rangers at the desk at low elevation under the hot sun, and Joshua trees and Ranger Simone at high elevation, with a hand sketching in rain clouds above them.
Joshua trees prefer the higher elevation where it's cooler and a little bit wetter. We might even get a winter snowstorm.
A shot of Joshua trees in the winter snow.
It's still a desert though, so it's hot and dry compared to most places, but even just a few degrees cooler can make a big difference. But all desert plants have to work hard to collect and store rainwater, and Joshua trees do this in a couple of different ways. These green spikes are their leaves. Careful, they're sharp.
Close-up of Simone's hand highlighting the Joshua tree leaves and their sharp tips. Then a close-up of a dried Joshua tree leaf showing its fibrous end.
The fibers within these leaves have been used by people for many years to make baskets, sandals, and nets. Let's take a closer look at their shape. This slight curve helps channel rainwater to its trunk.
Close-up of Simone pointing to highlight the curved leaf.
Let's make this shape with our arms. Let's start by putting our pinkies together and our elbows together, holding up towards our belly button. Imagine how rainwater would roll down our arms towards our bodies. This is how water moves down a Joshua tree leaf.
Close-up of an eyedropper dripping a single drop of water at a time onto a Joshua tree leaf, which funnels the water in toward the trunk.
And what do Joshua trees do with all this water they collect? This is a slice of a Joshua tree trunk.
Close-up of two slices of Joshua tree trunks, showing their fibrous, sponge-like texture.
Its fibrous texture stores water. Can you think of another plant that stores water? If you said cactus, you'd be right. Like a Joshua tree, the inside of a cactus acts like a sponge, storing water for the future.
Shot of a barrel cactus, followed by a close-up of the base of a fallen Joshua tree, showing its many narrow, stringy roots.
Both cacti and Joshua trees have shallow roots to help them collect rainwater. Joshua tree roots kind of look like spaghetti, and they have hundreds of them to help drink water. If we look up, you can see that the older leaves turn brown, folding backwards, shading the trunk to protect it from the sun.
Close-up of Simone gesturing to the tree's trunk, pointing out the branch that is fully covered by old leaves that have folded back along it, followed by a shot moving down another Joshua tree showing old brown leaves covering its trunk.
The desert is a harsh environment, but Joshua trees and other desert plants have special strategies to help store water and protect themselves from the sun so they can survive here. This has been Ranger Simone for the Granite Desk. Back to you.
Return to Rangers Jesse and Mackenzie at the desk.
Thanks, Ranger Simone. Now I see why we don't see Joshua trees here. They like to live in the cool climate in the high elevation desert.
Where this creosote bush is happy to be here at the desk where it's a little warmer and drier. It even has a waxy coating on its leaves to help it retain water and keep it from losing it to evaporation.
Close-up of the leaves on a creosote bush.
Each of these plants, the creosote, the Joshua tree, and the cacti, are all specially adapted to live in this environment.
As the climate changes, plants will respond to the differences in temperature and rainfall. Based on what we learned about Joshua trees, what do you think would happen to them if it gets warmer where they live?
Scientists are also asking this question. They're studying the plants in the park, finding the answers, and learning what it means for our desert ecosystem.
Thanks again for joining us on another Granite Desk adventure. What will we explore next?
Text on screen. Video by Perry Sassnet. Additional footage by the Joshua Tree Media Team. Graphics by Alessandra Puig Santana. Text on screen. Joshua Tree National Park acknowledges the Cahuilla, Chemehuevi, Serrano, and Mojave people as the original stewards of the land on which the park now sits. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work with the indigenous people in this place. We pay our respect to the indigenous people, past, present, and emerging, who have been here since time immemorial. NPS Arrowhead logo on a black background.